do that. And you could pull your report. And the reason you want to do that, and you're not required to. You just want to check and see that your business is showing. Now I forget if it's Experian or Equifax, but one of them doesn't do any, like, they don't report. They don't even see if you exist until you have a trade line reporting with a company that reports to them. So, like, if let's say you have AT&T Business for your phone, they report to everybody for business credit, and they would report to them who you are, your business name, address, all that. And then I think it's Equifax. If I'm confusing them, one of them you can definitely pull your report and they know who you are, because in the state of Florida, from my knowledge, they're probably one of the best states. The reason why is because they send your information to all the credit bureaus as soon as you purchase your business information.
So in business, there's Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian. Is there TransUnion?
No, not to my knowledge. I haven't seen anything with TransUnion.
Because that's regular. Like when I was in the car business as a finance manager, I pulled 3 bureaus on you.
Yep. And you would assume there's TransUnion, but I haven't seen anything.
Right. And we pulled 3 bureaus because we go with the strongest one. We would submit that to the bank.
Whatever works.
That's what you got to do. And
then 2 other trade lines you can get that do the same thing as the Dun and Bradstreet program, which is $49. Nav has one. I believe it's $29 a month, and they all act like trade lines. And then eCredible, what they do is you can give them your utility bills. So let's say you were not able to get approved for AT&T Business Mobility because they want $1,000 security deposit, which is very common because your business has no credibility behind it. What you can do is just take your personal phone bill, your utility bill, or your electrical bill, or any of those other bills, submit it to eCredible, and they will start reporting for you. And that's pretty much the beginning to building business credit. Once you start doing all of that, your business is going to look legitimate to the companies. Oh, also, don't forget, Google My Business. I forgot about that one. Google My Business page is important to have, because what businesses will do will look you up. They look up your website. They look up your business number. They look you up on like Sunbiz or whatever your state you're in.
Right. Florida. Yeah. Florida's definitely Sunbiz.
Yeah. But that's pretty much the intro to like building business credit. And then, this is a tip for trade line you can get. It's like a tier 1 trade line. This is how you start building business credit faster. WEX, WEX. They have fuel cards. They're called fleet cards. You can apply for it. They just might need a little bit more information, like, hey, do you have a bank statement saying that you have a business, your business is attached to the right address, making sure all that's accurate. And but they're great. They're a good one to get. And these are all really easy things to set up. It took me about 2 weeks total.
So let me just, and I'm going to throw Derek in here on this one. When you have a business that you're starting from scratch, you're building your credit that way. When you buy a franchise, Derek, is the credit already built for you, or is it still you're the business owner?
Of course, no, because you're just buying a license, and no matter what the brand is, you still have your own LLC. So it's still completely the exact. There's no difference in the process whatsoever to what Rohan said. So,
okay. So if I
some of the interesting things you mentioned about trade lines is very cool, because I know these these services that charge you to set up your business credit will actually give you a list of commonly reported for example, there's a Home Depot across the street from us. So I have a Home Depot Extras Pro account with a card or whatever, and that reports to, believe it or not, that's got terms, and it reports to major credit bureaus. So
does the out of curiosity, and this is something to definitely look out for, if your if any of your trade lines like Home Depot and all that don't take your EIN specifically, and they take your social security number, then it's technically not reporting to the business bureaus. So
I don't understand the whole confusion behind that, because when people come to me and they're like, are you using your EIN? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a LLC. Yes, of course I am. I've never even been asked, unless you're like personally guaranteeing or you're just starting off with a new loan. It doesn't matter. Any type of business documentation I've ever filled out has been my EIN for these LLCs for 5 years now. So like, no, I don't. It confuses me how that confuses people, because your EIN is your federally reported identification number, but it does. But it's weird, because it's like, why would you think your businesses reporting anything if you're not using your EIN at all. I mean, that's kind of like, it's almost like 101, right?
So it's very common,
Yeah.
and this is something I saw. I had a buddy of mine. He started everything, and then he had a Chase business card, and it was personally guaranteed, and he had to provide his social security number when he applied for it.
Yep.
So the reason why people are confusing it is probably because they just, first and foremost, most people don't even know anything about business credit. They hear about it. They've probably heard like, oh, you can use business credit to get $50,000 and like a 0% APR, things like that. But in reality, it's like they don't know the introductory stuff. They don't know the basics, and they also don't know that they're if most of these banks and these, what they'll do is they'll like pull your business credit information, see that you have nothing, like no reporting, and then they'll just be like, hey, I need you to fill out this form with your social security number. And they kind of just get looped into personally guaranteeing everything and not even realizing they're attached to it.
Yeah, that would be a shame if you woke up one day and realized it was your credit getting shredded and because you didn't know better.
I've heard horror stories of people that personally guaranteed their business and everything, and they ended up losing their house because when everything went under, they lost everything. And if they just made sure they separated themselves from the business entity, even the credit and everything, and once you separate that, it protects you. It's like, it's not like where someone can pierce the veil and
well, that's what I'm a little confused on it. And like if you have an LLC, it means limited liability. Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't that protect you from that happening?
Yeah, well, if you're personally guaranteeing everything, they can. I mean, a company can. I remember I saw this video. I think it was like one of the lawyer guys on TikTok was saying they can pierce the veil very easily because your money's attached to the business. And guess what? If the business has no money, the business has no credibility or credit or anything. If I sue the business and something was going on at the business and there was no money in the business, but everything was attached to the owner of the business, and the owner didn't set up the business in a way where he can be disassociated with it, I would just sue him.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. That's why I thought the reason you opened up an LLC was to protect you.
So how do you go about, here's a question for you. Mm-hmm. How do you go about getting a business loan when you set up a new LLC and you haven't done any commerce yet without personally guaranteeing it and you have no business credit?
You can't until you establish
business credit. So I think that what you just described is also, it's more than a slippery slope. I think it's common because you can't, if you've never opened an LLC, if you've never had revenue, but you have so like when I went into this, I'd never done that, but I had a killer credit score, killer money, blah, blah, blah. I could get anything anyone threw in front of my face. So there wasn't a choice but to personally guarantee when I started. So I had to personally guarantee my lease. I had to personally guarantee my SBA loan. A lot of that stuff before I got years down the road, and had some of those things set up to where I didn't have to do that on everything. But when you start, if you've got no one back behind you and you don't have investors and people putting into your business and you need money, you have to put something up. You have to sign off on it. So, I mean, that can happen to anyone in terms of, downfall, because if you fall before that stuff is all paid off or written off or whatever it may be, I mean, it's attached to you. So I think it's I think people get confused with that because they do that the first time and they don't realize that over time, you want everything to be just associated with your business, and just attached to that. And they get business credit cards, like you said, your friend, that their social security number, and it's not actually reporting to credit bureaus for their business. It's not giving their actual business credit to do that. And that's something that I fell victim to too, with a couple times with a couple cards, where the only time we actually got something that worked was when we went straight to our business bank and got a business credit card with our business bank under all of our business documentation, straight up, not even attached to me. So I think it's amazing. And I find it borderline ethically unethical that we're able to open LLCs with such limited knowledge of this, because it can ruin your life tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
LLCs can be the best thing in the world for protection and taxes, and they can be the worst thing in the world for going down a road you have no understanding of without. I mean, it's so easy to file LLC. So freaking easy, right? I mean, these days,
as easy as you can.
Yeah. So
it's also the same thing with like anything we do. It's like, oh,
yep.
let me go start a roofing company. If I have no experience, I'm just going to put myself in a hole because I don't know how to price it out right.
Right.
But and you're completely right. They don't teach us how to open up a business. They don't teach us the legal loopholes that, or not loopholes, but like the legal pitfalls we're going to run into as we do things. Or they don't teach us about business credit. They want us to use our social security number. There's so many things that they don't teach it, but it's not their job to teach us. Like it's our
Right.
job to like seek out this information. But and the thing is, the information is accessible, but also most of the time, the way it happens is I find it behind a paywall. And honestly, I'd rather just tell people because it's so much more beneficial for everybody. And if you
Yep.
want to like hire me to help you out, I would more than love to help out anybody I can. Like
Right.
at the end of the day, it's about helping as many people as I can and trying to impact as many people's lives as I can possibly.
So say I'm Billy Bob, wants to start a business, landscaping, whatever. The number one thing I should do is an LLC, correct?
You should definitely have an LLC. Yeah.
Not an Inc. or not a corporation or anything like that. LLC.
Yeah. You only start going as like Inc. and as like the S corps and things like that. Once you get to a certain size,
I think mine was an S corp.
Yeah.
Yeah, which it shouldn't have been. And do you know what is the difference between an LLC and an LLP?
I actually don't really know the difference because I've never heard of an. I haven't heard of an LLP, but I don't.
Derek, have you heard of an LLP?
Yeah, it's just when there's partners.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm confusing. I thought that was a.
It's an LLC. It's an LLC between two or more people.
Because
is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, people that are in partnerships, I hear it's an LLC. So I think they just file it incorrectly.
Yes, probably. The reason why you hear it correctly when you're dealing with professional services because they understand contractual law. So like you would see like attorneys as LLPs or CPAs or like engineering, infrastructure, architectural, any type of professional service who understands contractual agreement would technically with a partnership have an LLP.
Gotcha. Yeah, most often most people don't know anything about filing properly, so you end up seeing partners with an LLC. And
well, you know who I talk to about that stuff.
Chris?
Yes, of course. Why would you not talk to Smullins?
Oh, you have to.
Our friend, a mutual friend of ours, is a double doctorate and an attorney in corporate contracts, and I mean,
awesome.
It makes my head want to explode when he starts talking.
Yeah,
he's so smart. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, incredibly smart.
Yeah. So I said, do we call you Dr. Esquire? Is that what your name? Is that how we have to call you? So yeah, he's one of those guys. I got to be honest with you, Derek. I made fun of him the other day. He's one of those guys who just likes going to school and just wants to get as much education under his belt as he possibly can. Which is funny because my friend Bob, you met Bob at the hospital, right?
Yep.
Yeah. His wife has a double doctorate also.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
If I had the time and money to continually be in like a professional or whatever MBA program or whatever it may be, I would.
Would you just go for your MBA or would you go for your doctorate?
I'd go forever. I think I'm in the same mindset as him. I find it enjoyable. It's just, when life gets in the way, it's pretty tough to see it that way. If you've got your life in order and you have time and money, which most people don't have both of those things, I think it's enjoyable to learn. It really is. Like if it's something you're passionate about, if it's something you like, then you want to be, but it's just a different level of commitment.
Maybe I'll become the first doctor of podcasting. Dr. Podcast.
Look, doesn't Dr. Phil have a podcast?
Dang it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Any celebrity with any kind of skin in their or a noggin in their head, they have a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, just look, comedians have become overnight sensational famous because of their podcast.
Depending on a comedian, like Theo Von's killing it. I mean,
Theo Von, but here I found a very interesting thing because we interviewed somebody who knows Theo, and she said that, believe it or not, his shows are all scripted.
That's crazy.
He's very, very smart. It's just that's how he plays it. Yeah.
How do you script those videos? The way, like, I sit there.
I wouldn't say it's like verbatim scripting. I think it's scripted, and this is the order we're going to go.
I guarantee it's just like an outline of some types, because like he literally called people with Down syndrome as one of God's special remixes. Like you can't, which is almost the funniest, most beautiful, crazy thing you could ever hear. You can't really script that. Like you have to have a messed up brain.
Well, he does for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, did you watch him when he interviewed Trump?
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about his days of hookers and blow. I'm like,
dude, this is crazy.
You're talking to the president, bro. I mean, I don't think I say some silly off the wall stuff sometimes. I wouldn't say that with the president, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, he's a genius, obviously.
His brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with Rogan. Rogan's the same way.
Rogan.
Actually, did you watch? I just watched the video of he was interviewing Charlie Sheen when Charlie Kirk got shot.
I saw the 10-minute clip.
Both of them were just stymied. Like
Sheen's got like a book or something coming out because he's been on every podcast. Like you can imagine the last 2 weeks.
Is he bringing a movie out?
I think it's a movie.
Oh, I think he wrote a book too, because I saw a kid interview him today and asked him for his book and autographed it. So,
but I mean, I didn't mean to be specific about the content type, but he's got something. It's some type of PR thing because he's been on like 12 podcasts in like 2 weeks.
And he even talked about how he's been blackballed from Hollywood because of who he is, and he just says, "Well, I just remake myself."
I think you're right about the book, because I remember hearing something where he was in a podcast where he was talking about like the thousands of women he slept with and things like that. So yeah, I think you're right about the book.
I just saw him on Tucker Carlson the other night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's your sign.
Sorry? Yeah.
There's your sign when Charlie Sheen is on Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing. He's on Joe Rogan, who seems to be a little more conservative than people probably would like. I mean, I know he's conservative. He loves Trump. They're boys. And then he's on Tucker Carlson. I mean, is Charlie Sheen gone? Maybe that's why he got blackballed. Is he a conservative?
I mean, look at everybody that's blackballed in Hollywood. They're not really like out there saying they're conservative, but they end up being like, realistically, they're just
It's like if you're not an activist, you're automatically a mega conservative.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, well, crazy. No, there are people who there are people who are really not that affected by it and who are kind of just common sense people, and they wouldn't consider themselves much of anything. But if you listen to him, he has more of a common sense rationality. So I think that's why we say, oh, he's conservative. And that's because we're starting to associate
common sense with conservative.
Kinda, just because there's so much like polarization on the other side in terms of the extremes, even though it's not a huge population or percentage of not a huge percentage of the population, you know? So it's like we get this stigma that like common sense is like conservative. It's like there's tons of common sense people who are libertarian, who are middle of the road Democrat. Like it's a shame we aren't more common sense, and then from different political backgrounds for different reasons. That'd be great.
I mean, at one point in my life, I actually voted for Bernie Sanders. It was like in 2016, but this is like right after high school, and then I was like, oh, and the thing is, I don't look at people that are on the left side or liberals as like inherently bad people, because they have a good intention, but they just don't know how to really, what's the real right answer. And I don't mean this in like a condescending way. I just mean like when I was that way, when I was like, I voted for Bernie Sanders like when I was 21 or 20 years old. I was like, oh, he's looking out for the working class people. And I was looking at it more so like, who's the better working class candidate? Because I mean, realistically at the time, you couldn't buy a house realistically then out of high school or with any job. You still can't buy a house with the incomes that people are making right now. And then also healthcare, things of that nature. Now, the way I look at it now is very different. Like I've had a kid, I found God, like, and not saying finding God.
He was lost?
I was lost.
I love saying that when people go, I found God. I said, where was he? Did he sneak up on you?
He was everywhere. I just didn't know where to find him. But it's not saying like finding God instantly leads to conservatism, but it's more so along the lines like at what I was going through, it made sense for me to be a liberal per se.
Right.
But as I look at it, I was like, thank God I'm not a liberal. It's not bad. It's like
you might not be sitting here right now. I'm just kidding. I'm not like that.
But yeah, but thank God I'm not, because the way I look at it is, how can you want to pay a government all of your money and expect them to do a better job with your money?
Right.
Like it's just a basic foundation of, I'm not trying to pay all of my money in taxes for them to just blow it on things that we know is not going to go well. And
well, they don't have to they don't have to compete, so they don't have to be competitive like the fair market does. So of course, when you that's like saying, like, who are you going to pick to win a football game? The Super Bowl champions or the biggest, strongest guys you've ever seen who've never played anyone, and they're called a football team? Come on, like, right? I mean, like, you don't have to. They're big, but they've never played an organized game against someone, right? So the government is big and fat, but
unnecessarily.
They don't have to compete anywhere. I mean, not anywhere. There's not the same level of competition, obviously, in the public space as there is in the private sector. So you're going to be less efficient. That's just a fact.
Well, I think the government only competes against itself because there's two different wings in there. You know,
they almost compete against it. They're almost doing like drag racing to see how slow they can go.
They
like
don't
competing in the reverse.
Successful. Like the way they look at it, they don't need to be successful. If they ran a business, like let's say it's like, okay, now we're gonna get into the airplane manufacturing industry. They're not competing against Boeing as their competition. They're just paying. They're looking to just create something. Like, you have to have private sector for innovation because they have to succeed. They have no fallback.
Right.
Versus the government's like, oh, we always have the taxpayers' money. So there's always a cushion. There's no need to be successful.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, you know, the sad thing is not everybody sees it that way.
Yeah.
You know, they just, oh, it's the government. Why would they lie to us? Why would they be wrong? They need our money. Let's go save Ukraine. Let's go save Gaza. Let's go save, you know, the pygmies drilling oil and wherever they are. I don't know. We got to save them, though. Somebody's got to save them.
Look, if you have to trust the government, even like, and I don't mean to preach on anybody, but the Bible says don't trust any individual man because they will fail you.
100%.
How many times have we seen where a person we like or is like, don't meet your heroes because eventually they'll fail you? It's like it's the same concept. People were designed to fail.